Nom nom nom.
This episode of NomX3 is brought to you by TweetWorks. Context plus relevancy makes your tweets work. Hey there, welcome to another episode of NomX3. Today we are getting our lunch and noms on here at Henriettas Table at the Charles Hotel in Cambridge. Very nice setting. Henriettas Table is a nice little private room off to the side for us, so it's a great venue for the business lunch. I'm having lunch today with my plumber, Jeff Cutler, who has taken it upon himself to dress up for this fine occasion.
I've eaten here before, and the food is so fabulous you want to dig into it, and I always get some on me. So I didn't want to pay $60 or $70 for a suit and wear that to a lunch.
Very nice. Now, I think you confuse this occasion with maybe, well, a romantic one. A romantic lunch, maybe.
Between you and me?
Because you're wearing the yellow rugby.
The yellow rugby,
which was the impetus for you and I to meet as friends and get talking, and then that's how things, because I showed up to an event wearing a yellow rugby shirt.
Right.
You were wearing a yellow rugby shirt. You ran up to me and tried to hug me, and all sorts of weirdness ensued, and I pushed you up.
Right, and I got the restraining order and all that. I think you're right, because if you've never been to Henrietta's Table, I want to keep calling this place Henrietta's Kitchen because the food that comes out of here is fabulous. But it's Henrietta's Table, and this
Did I say kitchen?
No, I did.
Okay.
You said table.
Okay.
This place is great as a romantic venue. You can come here for a great brunch on the weekend. They have I think it's a champagne brunch where it's just unlimited buffet. The food is great. I mean, I'll keep saying it. And the reason the food is great is because of the executive chef, Peter Davis.
Absolutely.
Coincidentally, his book is now out. The executive chef, Peter Davis, of Henrietta's Table, put this book out last fall, and I was flipping through, and you can buy the book here or get it on Amazon or something like that. I was flipping through, and they have the Massachusetts oysters, one of the recipes that's in the book, and sadly, I didn't see them on the menu because that was going to be one of my first and last choices. I was just going to go to town on these things.
Well, we were guests of the chef. We probably could have got him to.
I know. Well, I'd like him to come out and sign this book. I may leave with the book.
You should. You should.
It's nice.
What's nice about the book? Did a little reading ahead of time. Is that everything is locally.
Yeah, it has the main
right?
oysters. I think are in there. And
so it's all New England type fare,
farm-raised stuff.
Try to be responsible, if you will, right? Locavore type oriented. Type deal.
I was also flipping through the back. They show how to make different types of vinaigrettes.
Okay.
They have a warm bacon vinaigrette, a mustard vinaigrette. So they help you make sauces as well.
So there you go.
I mean,
so that you need a little saucier pan.
Right. That could make me, even with my mac and cheese diet, a pretty good chef.
So very cool. What did you order today, Jeff?
I went down the menu and I had a hard time choosing.
Okay.
But I decided to go with the Maine rock crab and corn chowder with smoked bacon just as a starter.
Okay.
Little warm soup, start the day. Then I went down and I was torn between the salmon burger and the crusted monkfish. Went with the monkfish on Stephanie, who's our waitress's suggestion.
Yep.
And then to top it off, because I've been in a beer rut, and as Mike wants to call this a business lunch, I think it's more of a romantic lunch. So I got sangria to mark the occasion.
It's kind of a hard comeback. See, he did
follow that.
He did wear that shirt on purpose. I knew it. You knew it.
It's calculated.
All right, so I'm going to start off with, by request, a good friend, Meg Fowler.
Oh, really?
Requested that I get the crab cake. So I'm going with an appetizer on the crab cake there because, as you usually say, or you have said, when there's a special,
go with the
special. So
right.
On the back of our menu today, there is a special. It is the lobster roll. So a native lobster salad roll with chips over mixed greens. Now, I usually get a couple of lobster rolls per summer because they're just delicious.
Right, but you were saying earlier you haven't even done that
yet. Well, it's
yet.
Because it rained for 2/3 of the summer. We had like 2 or 3 weeks of summer, and that's it.
Right.
So
now don't shortchange us by bringing up the calendar, because one of our topics today is all about time.
This is true. So I'll let you kick it off with the time thing, because you get a little bit of an issue here.
I have a little perspective about time. I have a buddy of mine who, as long as I've known him, operates on a different dimension.
Do we want to name him and embarrass him on the show?
No.
Okay, just curious.
No, because he may be a guest at some point. He just operates on a different time frame, a different space-time continuum. I don't know what you want to call it. He's in a different universe. And you hop into the car with him, and you think you will never get to your destination. He drives slowly. He drives worse than I do, and I drive like an old lady occasionally. Although, if you listen to the cameraman who's making faces right now, he thinks I drive like...
his heart is finally starting to come back down to normal pace.
PTSD.
But what do you do if you're paired with someone like that? You mentioned that your parents are at opposites in the time zone.
Yeah, my mother's, famously... Hello, cameraman. My mother is famous, so everybody says she's going to be late to her own funeral.
Right.
Because
I've heard that about a lot.
She cannot be on time. You'll be like, all right, Ma, my mother works for the post office,
right?
So she works on Saturdays. So a lot of times we'll have family functions on Saturday.
Yeah.
And so she's like, well, I'll come over after work.
Right after I'm done, right after my shift.
I'm just going to stop by the house.
Oh, no.
To change or whatever. Next thing you know, she's showing up at 6 o'clock, and she got out of work at 3. And you're like, what did you do? Well, I decided to put some laundry in and this and that. Hurry up.
Yeah.
What's wrong with you? And my dad, he'll be like 15 minutes early to everything. He's like punctual. Very good. Well, they stay married for so long?
Well, there's a strategy to some of that, because I know now, after going to dinners at my parents' house for ages, that if they say dinner's going to be ready at 6 o'clock, it's not even thrown into the oven till 7. So I will purposefully delay on my end not to show up until 6:45, enjoy your drink and hang out, just because it can get interminable. And I don't have kids. You have 2 boys. And I don't have the kids that I'm going to spend a lot of time with. Yes, I'm an uncle to a lot of kids, but after a while I can only sit there and look at the Jesus child for so long and be like, okay, that's enough. So I want to time my arrival and departure appropriately. Same thing, let's jump off.
You've got to be careful, though. So now as an uncle that has no children of your own, these children may be the ones who choose your home someday. Because they're going to, who are you going to turn to? They'll be the last living relatives, and they'll be like, yank it like you're starting a lawnmower.
I was going to write Graydon right into that as the living will executor.
Okay, very cool.
Or executor. Executor. Yeah. That's a Freudian slip.
Yeah, very cool.
No, let's talk about the business thing for a second. You were talking that you had worked for a large financial institution that had a really well-known community term for timing when it came to meetings and stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. It was fairly consistent that meetings started 15 minutes late.
Right.
Just because it was just the way,
Yeah.
So just people
make sure they got their suits on.
That's what it is. The suits on. That's right.
Yeah, it's
come on. I'm looking good. It looks good.
I mean,
we should have a new thing. We'll be like a fancy lunch.
We could do that.
It'd be really funny when we go to a hot dog stand in the middle of PO Square, dressed up in a suit.
Bring my
tux.
tux.
They do with the rest of the people who work downtown.
I have my own tux. I'll bring the tux. Don't threaten me. I'll bring the tux.
I gotta see the tux. You want to see the tux? I totally want to see.
It makes me look like a penguin, only because I put on 70 or 80 pounds since we started doing this. But the other thing that I used to do at organizations was set up a meeting that was scheduled to run 8 minutes, and it was scheduled. I think everyone notices that when I'm attending an event or when I'm going to be somewhere, I'll tweet that I'm arriving at some odd number past the hour, because that's so much more memorable than, hey, I'll be there at 2 o'clock. If you say you're going to be there at 2:08, someone's like, 2:08? And it just registers.
But it's not the time they remember. They just remember you're some sort of weird dude who can't just say, I'll be there around 2.
They may remember that as well. But
what is he doing?
I don't know. I mean, we may have to dock our cameraman.
I don't know what's going on.
He's tied up in the technology.
It's crazy. He's over there tweeting while we're doing the show. This is outrageous.
I know.
I got to file a union grievance.
Exactly. Why don't you talk about your beverage?
Well, I don't remember the full name of it, but was it the Fisherman's Ale?
It was.
Well, is a brewery called Fisherman's Brewery or something like that?
I think it's local, but
it's a local beer, so it's very good. It's
I don't exactly remember. We'll have to find out when Stephanie comes back.
The reason why I chose this local beer, and I asked, you heard me when I was ordering my beer.
She said it was bitter, though.
It's not that bitter, actually.
Okay.
It's a little on the dry side, but not going to pucker you up, not going to dry me out. The reason why I chose this beer over they have a house beer here that you can only get here.
Okay.
I wanted something you could get at one of the local liquor stores because we have a friend, Schneider Mike, who's doing his own show, and we're going to have him as a guest.
What is it? Brew Monkey or
calls
something?
it Belching Monkey.
Oh, okay.
Now, what I've encouraged him to do is, look, we'll taste
we
beers.
Can do a taste off.
You can do your tasting on your show of the beers and review the beers we do. So I hope he does that.
Right.
So I'm going to start ordering beers that I think he might be able to get his hands on, so he can do the tasting.
Nice.
And then kind of complement our show. A little link share in there.
That works
a little
pretty
link
well.
love.
Yeah.
And then we're going to have him on the show. We're going to have the liquid lunch. We're going to get nice and ripped at a local place where you can watch a game.
Yep, I like that. Like the stadium
because
or just
occasionally,
someplace.
the playoff games. Sometimes the baseball playoffs are coming up.
You spend the whole day, or a Sunday
they start off at
afternoon.
2.
A Sunday afternoon for football.
Yeah.
You start off. It's 8 to 8 times a year. You start off at 8 in the morning. You finish around 8 at night. It's just a day.
You can go to the bar, get your Kirk on, and watch a game.